I'm heading out on the shortest bikepacking trip I've ever done. And yet somehow, it feels like the most important. The route I'll be doing isn't the longest. It isn't on the hardest terrain. It isn't even all that far from home. But it represents something big for me. I'm about to do my first solo bikepacking trip in years. Feels a little scary, but let's go. For my first bike tour ever, I cycled solo from Scotland to Croatia. It was one of the most special and empowering things I've ever done. When I met my partner, I was so excited that he took an interest in bicycle travel, and together we've had some beautiful adventures. Traveling with him brings about a sense of safety and comfort, which I love. But it also had me start to worry. Is bikepacking solo something I can even do anymore? So I decided to load up my bike and find out. Just a few kilometers in, we have our first challenge of the trip. My drivetrain has locked up. You can see it's happening in the little cog here. My instinct, as a worrywart, has always been to assume the worst. Because I built this bike recently, I was like, I must have built it wrong. And then I remembered what I always try to remember, which is that often the solution is actually the simplest solution. So it's kind of hard to see, but basically all it is that the bolt that holds my rack, which I just installed yesterday before leaving for this trip, it's just out too far. And so it's digging into the chain and causing the chain to get stuck. So I don't have any washers right now. When I get home, I will put a washer on so that the bolt sits a little further out. But for now, I'll just have to remember not to go into my smallest cog, which is fine. When I first started bike touring, I barely knew how to fix a flat. Now, there isn't much on my bike I can't fix myself. It feels pretty cool to be reminded that I have what it takes to solve these issues. Finally, I make it out of the city and onto some peaceful rail trails. The moment I hit those tree-lined paths, I'm reminded of why I do this, why I love this. Alone or with others, for me, there's no peace like that of rolling along on two wheels in nature. Even when you get turned around a bit. It feels like no time has passed since my first solo trip 5 years ago. My body and mind fall into the routine of riding, fueling, rinse, repeat. Spring is in bloom. The weather is perfect. I feel as though I could do this forever. Until the fact this was a very impromptu trip with no training catches up to me. Okay, I don't like doing it, but I'm gonna have to trim off part of the route to get to my campsite faster. I think it's just the safest way to make sure I don't end up biking really late at night or injuring myself from trying to do too much too fast. So, gotta change the route a little bit, but that's okay. Changing a planned route always feels like a bit of a failure in a way, but I try to never let my ego run the show, and I know this is the right call, and that only becomes clearer. Oh, I am pooped. Oh, I knew today was going to be a long day. It was like a stretch in terms of distance for like how much I've been riding lately. I still have a third of my distance for the day. It's 4 o'clock. And I have a pretty big headwind. It's a lot, but I'm gonna keep going. And I do keep going. I am so tired. I keep going and going and going. It's slow riding, but I'm rewarded with what I think is a vulture sighting and frogs? Can you hear that? Is it like frog mating season or something? That's crazy. The sun begins to set as I near my destination, and my exhausted legs are thrilled to finally arrive at my campsite. Being spring, the bugs are out in full force. But I enjoy the pleasant simplicity of setting up my home for the night. It's something I haven't done on my own in quite some time, and it's rewarding to see how effortlessly the practice returns to me. As I turn in for the night, I feel empowered by the day's events, as though there's nothing I can't do. But the night isn't always as kind as the day. I wake with a jolt and think I hear something or someone near my tent. It's the first of several jolts that night. This, for me, is the hardest part of solo bikepacking. The moments spent alone in my tent with my mind and heart racing. I calm myself to sleep by looking at cute cat videos and photos of other solo female bikepackers on their adventures. It reminds me there are plenty who did this before me, and others doing this alongside me. In the light of the morning, things don't seem so scary. I'm so tired. And my sleeping bag is so warm. Why would I want to get out? That was the toughest night I've had in a tent in a while. I was so spooked. I thought there was no way I was gonna fall asleep again. But I did, and I actually got an okay sleep. One perk of solo camping. Look at all this space. I'm a queen. Alright, let's head home. So, my camping experience didn't convince me that every bit of solo travel is as easy as traveling with others. Camping with my partner brings me comfort I don't yet get on my own, but it doesn't mean I can't do it. In fact, for me, it means I should do it, because each time I do, it brings more confidence. And having these moments, just me, my breakfast, the trees and the birds, it's a special kind of peace. A quick check of the route and the campsite to make sure I don't forget anything, and we're back on the road. I gotta say, there's something really special about cycling early in the morning. There's like so few people out. The sun is beautiful. You can hear the birds and the squirrels. And you just have the whole day ahead of you to ride. Really beautiful. I will also say though that my butt hurts a lot. Yesterday was a really long ride for what I've been doing lately, so my butt is feeling it, but just one long ride and then we can relax, you know? There's a long riding day ahead, and it isn't always easy. My butt hurts, my legs are tired, but I take it slow, very slow, and pause for plenty of breaks. And bit by bit, I make my way. After a long day of riding, I finish my loop, exhausted but exhilarated. It turns out, after all these years, I've still got it. I love my partner, and I want to see the world with him. But I also love knowing I can do this whole bikepacking thing on my own. I have no doubt there will be many more solo adventures in my future.